going on? Welcome back to the channel. Just leaving the gym. It's like 10:30. It's like 10:45. We went at 9:30. It was pole day. We went with Toby, and he's off to Tahoe, Lake Tahoe now, to visit some of his friends before his college starts, which is pretty cool. I've never been to Tahoe. I don't think, not that I remember, unless just like passing through there or something. But I was at the gym. I listened to, yesterday I kind of started because my neighbor asked me to mow his lawn. So I was starting to listen to David Goggins' Joe Rogan episode with David Goggins. Just had a brain fart there. But it was really good, and he was talking about like his life story and how he ran, like how he got into ultra running and his story in the Navy and how he went through 3 hell weeks and all that stuff. Like, if you know David Goggins, you know about him because he talks about his story a lot. And it's a really good story, really inspiring. Like, he's just like insane. His mindset and his discipline is amazing. And I really like him. He's really cool. He's a huge inspiration. But, so I finished listening to that, and they talk about a bunch of stuff in life, and it's like the part that I finished on, he was just talking about like how people, there's never going to be anyone who like comes to save you. Basically, nobody's going to come and tell you, like when he was 297 pounds or whatever he was, nobody came and like got him out of bed at 3 a.m. Nobody came and said, hey, you need to lose this weight, right? Like, you're getting big. I'm gonna help you lose this weight. Nobody's coming to save you, basically. That's what he was saying. And it was really interesting. And it's true because, like, anything you want in life, you kind of got. And this is something that I'm starting to learn. You have to put yourself in situations with people. And, like, you have to put yourself in a situation where people have similar mindsets to you, and it's difficult and it's hard to do it, but that's what I'm finding out right now, because it's hard to find people with similar mindset as you, first of all, and then second of all, it's just like uncomfortable, so it makes it even harder, but it's just something you got to do, and that's the only way you're going to progress. It's the only way you're going to make progress is to be in uncomfortable situations with people who are also going for that goal. Because, like, if you think about it, a team is always going to work better than an individual. Like, well, if the team works together, that is. But just like in a previous video, I was talking about, like, when you go to war, nobody's afraid of one guy with a sword. But when you see 100 guys with swords, like, that's some power right there. And think of the things that they can conquer. Even if you have like mediocre guys, 100 mediocre guys with swords, and one insane like warrior with a sword, is like, it still isn't equal. The 100 is gonna beat the one every time, unless it's in movies, which obviously you've seen movies and the one guy like martial arts his way through all 100 of the enemies and stuff. It's funny. But anyways, I was thinking, last night I was watching a video with Eric Sue, I think that's how you say his last name, S-I-U, Eric Sue, maybe, I don't know, but he's like a social media marketing person, and he started a while ago, which I'm starting to notice a lot of the trends with a lot of these successful people is they got in early. Whatever they're doing, they've been doing for a long time, and they got in early, and they've been doing it, and they came up with other people that got in early. But anyways, he was just talking about how, like, right now the strategy is building an audience for anything that you do. Like, you want to have a personal brand, which is another thing I was looking into, is how to build a personal brand. And the way you do that is, like, you have to find your audience, and you do that by figuring out what you want to be known for and, like, how you want to be viewed, because everyone has a personal brand right now. Like, when you think of someone's name, like, think of, like, I don't know how to give an example of someone that everyone watching this would know that doesn't have, like, a personal brand that you articulated, or that they articulated very well. But, like, for example, like, your friend. Think of your best friend and think of their name. And what's the first thing that you think of when you think of their name? Like, what kind of person they are. And that's their personal brand. Or, like, the first thing you think about yourself when you think of your name. When someone's like, tell me about yourself. And that is your personal brand, even though it's not like a brand. Like, that's what it is. And that was really interesting. And this guy was talking about, like, Eric Sui was saying that the strategy right now is to, if you have no experience in anything, start a YouTube channel and start documenting your progress towards whatever you're working towards. Like, he gave the example of a real estate agent with no experience, and he said, right now, you better be starting a YouTube channel and documenting whatever you're doing, and that's how you're going to grow your brand, personal brand, so that you get people who recognize you, and then when they see your name, they think of your name, then you control what they think when they hear your name. And it was like, it makes so much sense, and it's something I think more people should be doing, because, like, when you look around at these professionals, like local, like, because my dad is in the real estate industry, so I've known, like, been around some realtors and stuff, and they don't have a personal brand, and it's like, well, when you think of their name, like, there was this one guy that I worked with when I was a busser at a restaurant downtown, and he was a waiter. He was like 19, and he just gotten his real estate license, and he was doing it with his mom. And, like, when I think of him, he never really talked about real estate. He was just a waiter. Like, that was his personal brand to all of us. And I'm sure if he would have, like, talked about real estate more and, like, put it in our faces and, like, mentioned that he was a real estate agent, to get people to associate his name with being a real estate agent, then it would have made much more sense. And another thing, too, that Eric Sui was saying that he got from Mr. Beast, he said, Mr. Beast said right now that podcasts are really OP, or overpowered, because the audience retention in podcasts is a lot higher than in videos, where, like, the average YouTube video, you get people who come and watch your video for 30% of the video, and then they click off and they go to the next video. Where he was saying in podcasts, it's like 70 to 80% retention. So, like, people that are listening are much more invested. And then, so he said, if you're starting anything, eventually it's a lot harder to grow a podcast than, like, YouTube and stuff and video content, but that's, like, how you make the connection with your potential audience. And you have to identify what you want to be known for, which I'm still contemplating. I'm thinking it's going to be real estate, because, like, I grew up in that environment. I know I have good background knowledge around it, and it's interesting to me. And also, I mean, like, what is it, like 90% of millionaires made their money with some kind of real estate, whether it's real estate investing or they were in real estate or whatever. Real estate is where the money is, and it's also heavily based on networking, which is what I need to work on, which would be perfect, because then you build that network while you're making money and learning everything about it. And there's so many tax breaks in real estate. Like, I'm sure you've heard of Robert Kiyosaki, where in his Rich Dad Poor Dad book, or anything that he talks about, where he uses debt as his money. And debt is a good thing, because you don't pay taxes on debt. But as long as you use the debt to buy assets that are going to make you money and not liabilities that cost you money, then you're going to keep on making money off of the debt to then go into more debt off of the money that you make on that debt to keep making more money. And it's just a giant cycle of debt where it just keeps growing and growing. But it's a healthy debt, because that debt is making you the money to qualify for more debt. Because to get a loan, you have to qualify. Like, you can't just go in and just get a loan. Like, you have to have money proof of money and a job and credit and stuff like that. That shows that you're going to pay it off. So that's a really, really interesting idea. I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do. Because I've been juggling the idea of being a pilot too. I'm sure you've heard me talk about. Yesterday I talked to a retired airline pilot from Delta. That was one of my grandma's friends. And he was telling me, like, all the training that you have to do to get into it. And you basically, like, he went the military route, but he went through the Navy. And he said, the Navy or the Air Force, if they put you through flight school, then you plan on being in the military for 10 years. Because it's a $2 million flight school program. And you're flying their $50 million planes. And it's like, that makes sense. But it's like, that is such a huge dedication. Even though he said that some of the captains or whatever the highest ranking people at Delta were making $500,000 a year, that's like the last 5 years of your career. So, like, it's good money, but I mean, you have to dedicate your life to it. And that's with anything. If you want to be successful in anything, you have to dedicate your life to it. But I don't know. I feel like within the next 10 years, airline pilots will probably be replaced. And then where do you go from there as a pilot, right? Because that's like the end goal. That's like the major leagues for an airline, for any pilot, is usually in the airline. But yeah, this video is getting long, so I'm going to wrap it up. And, before I wrap it up, I did talk to an insurance agent also yesterday about selling insurance. And he said, selling insurance it's difficult right now because rates keep going up and people are wanting to switch, and it's hard to get into, and the requirements for like what qualifies on insurance to be insured is getting harder and harder. So right now it's not a good time to get into real estate. And I mean, it probably wouldn't be that fun to sell insurance. I mean insurance. If I said real estate, I meant insurance within the last like 30 seconds. But yeah, I feel like it wouldn't be that fun because nobody wants to buy insurance. People want to buy cars and people want to buy houses, but nobody wants to buy insurance. So I mean, that wouldn't be very fun. But I'm going to wrap up the video there. So if you made it this far, thanks for watching. I know it's kind of like a long video for today, but make sure you join that Discord link in the description. It's an online brotherhood. We talk about a bunch of things in life. And subscribe, share the video with a friend, and I'll see you in the next one.